Hello everyone, welcome back to Keeping It Real with Nick. My guest today is Margaret Hurd, who is also known as my mother. And we'll be back after this commercial break. Welcome back to Keeping It Real with Nick. And here we have Margaret Hurd, who is known as my mother. So, Margaret, I know that you are our Senior Vice President at Park Property Management company called Park Property Management. How long has Park Property has been in business, and what exactly does Park Property do?
Park Property Management has been in business since 1975, and we manage about 70 apartment buildings in the Greater Toronto Area and about 1 million square feet of industrial space. I've worked at the company for 38 years.
Well, that is true. You've been there for 38 years, and now look where you are now.
Yes.
Did you start your career in Park Property as Senior Vice President?
No, I was...
Did you have to take extra schooling to get this job?
Well, I started my job in 1980 as an accounts receivable clerk. I went from there being a pain to my boss, so he kept giving me more work to do. And the more work I got, the better jobs I got within the company. So when a little bit after when my boss said that he was going to retire, they asked me if I would be interested in the job of vice president, but they wanted me to go back to school. So when I was 40... I had to go back to school to get my MBA at University of Toronto, which took me about 3 years. So, yes, it took a little bit more schooling to get where I am today.
Yeah, and during that time, you had 3 kids.
Yes, 3 kids, worked full-time, a dog,
True.
Sports, and school.
Yep. And now he's no longer with us, which is sad that he's not with us anymore.
Who?
Guinness.
Oh, Guinness, our dog, yes. No, he's not with us anymore.
But we do miss him.
Yeah, well, you say you do.
Well,
but sometimes you don't.
Well, actually, I do miss him. I understand that you are also vice chair of the professional organization that advocates for landlords called Federation of Rental Housing Providers. How do you like this role?
It's an interesting role. There is about 21 board members. We manage what we do is we advocate for landlords in the province for just ensuring that other landlords within the province have an idea of what the legislation is about. We try to see how we can make things better for tenants as well as property owners. And we've been around for 25 years, and yes, it's a very interesting position to have. I enjoy it.
That's good, and I enjoy it with you. I also understand Park Property Management has won several awards. Can you tell us about them?
Yes. For the last 6 years, we've actually been receiving awards annually for our charitable donations to the Greater Toronto Apartment Association. It's a charity that is for people who are at risk, so women in homeless shelters, as well as youth, as well as people who can't afford the rent, so we give donations to those organizations. Park has won awards for that. We've won awards for conserving energy in our apartment buildings, and we've won awards for improvements to our buildings. So we've won several awards.
And I am very happy for you and the entire company.
Yes, we are all happy there for that, yep.
That is good to know, Mom. What is the most rewarding part of your job?
The most rewarding part of my job? Well, We have one particular apartment building that, we have 7 in this area. It's in an area called Thorncliffe Park. It is called, or what is considered a priority neighborhood, because the majority of the people who live in that area live below the poverty line. And so with that, we give an awful lot of our time. And we've actually, one of my favorite parts is that this year we installed a large garden in the back of one of our apartment buildings through a program called Summer Lunch Plus. And it's about 1/2 acre. And with that, we grew mushrooms, herbs, vegetables, and the people within the building would come down on a daily basis to pick up their vegetables for their evening meal, or the kids would come and get lettuce for their salads. And it was really a nice thing to do, and it was a great community effort. So things that involve the community and the tenants within that community of our buildings is really important to me.
I think we should do the same thing for our family, doing that kind of stuff too.
Well, yeah, there you go. You could start it.
Well, I could if I had the time.
Yeah.
I know that you were also active at one time with the Down Syndrome Association of Toronto. Can you tell me how this came about?
Well, it came about when you were born. So when you were born, we, I guess it was you were about 10, maybe about 6 months old. And there was an organization that got together at Neil McNeil High School, and we parents got together. There was a lot of us, but there was never an association for Down syndrome specifically. It used to be called the Metro Toronto Association for the Mentally Retarded, and we felt there was an awful lot of need for people with Down syndrome apart from that. So we started the Down Syndrome Association of Metro Toronto at the time, it was called, but now it's the Down Syndrome Association of Toronto. There was, I think, about 12 parents. We used our house and our phone number as the place for everybody to send. And we then I was the treasurer, secretary, courier, many roles. And then as your brother and your sister came along, my time was taken up with your siblings, so sure. I kind of backed off. And you were also the poster boy for about the first 5 years of the brochure that we had developed for the association. But we did it more to help engage the medical profession and to be supportive of people who had children with Down syndrome or babies with Down syndrome, so we could help them through the process as well.
Which we're going to be talking to some parents this weekend.
Yes, we will. We'll be talking to the parents and the little boy who's 2 years old.
Which I was.
One time, yeah.
One time. Yeah. And
you've grown a bit since.
Yeah, but I've grown a bit. I've grown a few hairs.
Yeah. Here.
And how many... So, how many parents did we visited within those years?
I couldn't even tell you. I couldn't tell you. But most of the times, it was people coming to meetings and things like that. And just really more educating people about Down syndrome. I think that was the important part of it.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Yes.
Because we did do that.
Yes, we did.
As a mother of 3, can you tell me what it is like to have a child with Down syndrome?
Well, it was, at the beginning it was difficult. You were born, we didn't know about it for a few days. The doctor came in and said that your muscle tone was really low, so they kind of thought there was something a little bit different. And then they checked things like your baby finger, your toes, your eyes.
Yeah.
Those were all these little parts of what they said were typical of people with Down syndrome. And then they did the genetic test on you to see what the chromosome test, so that you have trisomy 21, and that's what they were checking for. And then, it was a little bit shocking. It was hard at the beginning because, what we expected for you as our firstborn was something different. And now we've got you. And that's what's really amazing. We had a difficult time getting you through school, advocating for you to have the rights to stay in the school in your neighborhood, making sure that the people in the school treated you the way you deserve to be treated. Those are the type of things. We did it out of love, and we did it out of the fact that it needed to happen. So,
It did, and it did happen. And there are some days
Well, yeah, that's right. You went to college and then you got kicked out for skipping off.
well, I didn't get kicked out.
Well,
I got
kicked out.
I was on probation.
Okay, let's call it that.
Academic probation.
Yes.
But I've learned from that.
Yes, you have.
But now
you're on time.
and now
you don't spend your days in Starbucks?
No. But now I've grown up and learned from my mistakes.
Absolutely.
That's what life is about.
That's right.
Was it hard for you and Dad to get me through school and college?
Well, other than your skipping off and stuff like that, school was difficult, yes, because there were certain circumstances where you were not in the class. Well, for example, when you were in junior school, we had parents who wanted you to be going to a different school because they felt that the attention would be taken away from their children and given to you instead of their children. So we felt that was really unfair. So we tried to get a teaching assistant for you, and then you chose yourself when you went to junior high to go to a school where you were in a segregated classroom, so that you felt that you were learning rather than being delayed. And then when you went to high school, we weren't too pleased where they chose to put the classroom, which was in the basement without windows. So we gave them a big hard time about that. But then, you managed to sign you managed to write your, to be accepted into college, and you got in. So we were really pleased for that. So, yeah, you did a lot of it yourself.
I did. And also, doing this, I did all this myself.
Yes,
getting my show up and going.
That's right.
And I did that through Tinkled Arts.
Yes, you did.
All by myself. And I'm really happy
Who's
that
being
I did
interviewed
that.
here, me or you?
I know. I'm saying I'm proud of myself for doing it.
We're all proud of you.
Did you have any role models growing up? And what inspired you most about them?
I'd have to say my grandfather. My grandfather was a very wonderful man, my mom's dad. And he was, when he grew up, when he was younger, and your grandmother was younger, they lived in Europe during the war. And my grandfather was a pastor, a teacher. He also was the musician of the town. He also, during the wartime when things were bad, he made people, he would put on plays and encourage the people in the village to get inspired and be part of them, just to try and lift their spirits. And he was a really, really wise man. He could do anything. And I think that his gentleness and his kindness really made me think about what I wanted to do in my life.
What kind of teacher was he?
Everything.
Oh, everything.
There was only one room in a schoolhouse back in those days, so he used to teach everybody everything.
I bet he did. I bet he was a very, very good man.
Yeah, I think you met him once or twice. Not very often.
Not very often. As a successful business woman, what are your words of wisdom for young women everywhere?
Ooh. I would have to say one of the big words of wisdom I would have to give to young women everywhere is to stay focused, to make sure that what you want in life is what you go for, and not to back down. If you feel that that is your desire, go for it.
That is so true, Mom. That is very true. For young women everywhere. So, Margaret, I'd like to say thank you for coming on to our dial today, coming onto the Display channel and keeping it real with Nick. We wish you all the best in the near future with Park Property, and I hope you win more awards in the near future, and I'm happy you came on today, and thank you to you guys for watching, and have a good weekend, and happy holidays to everyone out there. Thank you for watching.